Perfect. I can hear you now. We are all set. Thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. My pleasure.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. A friendly reminder to all the media who are here. If you have a question, please raise your hand. I will also have audio and video files from this session available to everyone after we wrap. So, Coach Gibbs, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Obviously, on good terms to be able to chat on Championship 4 week for you with Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe going this weekend to Phoenix in hopes of capturing the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Obviously, last night you guys had Christopher Bell not advancing, so I know you have mixed emotions most likely. But can you just tell us what the last few weeks have felt like for your organization?
Well, I felt like kind of going into yesterday, it's been, an outstanding year for us. But in pro sports, you can have some tough Mondays, and we're having one today because yesterday we hate it with the 20 kind of missing being in the playoffs there. And it was just one of those days where, hey, you got to give credit to the Hendrick cars did a fantastic job, and you got to give them credit on a day like that. But the way everything worked out for us, our playoff schedule is so tough. The 20 has had a heck of a year, but we just wound up yesterday. We just weren't quite good enough to get in. So that part of it is a downer. But we have two cars that obviously to be in the final four is a thrill for us. You got the 11 with Denny and Chris Gale and all the emotion and stories that goes with that car. And then you got our first year car with um, Chase and James just having a heck of a year with the 19. So we got two stories there. We're really excited about that. It's just today's been tough to get back excited.
I understand. We're going to go ahead and open for questions now, and we will start with Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Coach Denny has had a few mechanical issues over the last 5, 6 weeks. Do you have any concerns or doing anything additional for quality control?
No, we've been on that all morning. We've all got the parts out, looked at everything. And I think issues with the motors are always concerning. You never want that to happen. But I think we kind of have understood where we are and what those parts were and have made adjustments for sure. And really, those parts will not be in the cars for this weekend. So I feel good about that.
And is what do you think Denny has learned from the championships that have slipped away that will help him this time?
Well, I think he's the experience. As you know, in pro sports, that's something that you just can't teach someone. They've got to experience it. And I think Denny, over these years, 60 wins and being here for this amount of time, I think that you listen to him in meetings, and he really, with the experience and everything, is really good, I think, for the young drivers that are in that room because he sees things just as a veteran would. He's been through almost everything. He kind of understands it. He works extremely hard in the sim, but his preparation and everything, I think a veteran guy like him, it's hard to, that kind of experience really means a lot. So hopefully our sport is so hard, it shows in how hard our sport is. You got to be able to get to the final four, which we've done with Denny. Now you got one race, and you got to make it happen.
All
Thank
right. Our next question will go to Nate Ryan. Go ahead, Nate.
Thanks, Amanda. Coach, two drivers from Joe Gibbs Racing, two drivers from Hendrick Motorsports in the championship four. It's the second time in 4 years, so this is nothing new for you and Rick Hendrick. But what's it like for you going up against Rick Hendrick in the championship four? Jeff Gordon was talking last night about how you and Rick exchanged messages a lot just as friends rather than competitors. What's this like, I guess, facing the best team in NASCAR in terms of playoff victories, both as competitor and as friend?
Yeah, what it's like, I don't like it. Okay. Yesterday's a good example. Got to give Rick and his crew over there, the 24 and the 5, uh, and the 9. This everybody over there, 48, everybody was fast. And it shows you what a quality organization and how good they really are. And so, no, I would prefer to go against somebody that's not very good. The problem is that doesn't happen in NASCAR. And so to get to the final four is just so hard. And so now we got one race. We know what we're up against, somebody that's really, really good. Two cars in there for them, two for us. And so hopefully this will be good for the fans and everybody and the excitement. Probably won't be good for me. I'll be so nervous and uptight about it. But, to get to the Final Four is a thrill, and we're thrilled to be in it. It's great for our sponsors and our entire organization. You got to give Rick and them just all the credit in the world.
And quick follow up about Rick, Coach. If you can think back, I'm sure you've told us 1,000 times, but if you can think back 30 some years, how instrumental was he in helping you get into NASCAR? What did he do for you to get a team started in NASCAR, and how important was it just to being in the sport?
It was really, really important for us. And so when I started thinking about trying, I mean, you got to remember, I was a football coach. I didn't have anything. And so when both the boys, JD and Coy, we talked about uh, getting in racing. Could we do that? Could you do something in NASCAR? Then everybody referred me to Rick. And thank goodness he was a big Redskin fan and got him to a football game. Get him to tell you that story where his shoes came apart on the sideline and he almost lost his toes. It was so cold. That was the story. But Rick helped us a lot. He let Jimmy Johnson, his general manager at that time, kind of go with me to a lot of meetings. And he just helped and gave advice. And then we started off originally leasing motors and everything from Rick. So it was a huge deal for us. For us to be able to get off the ground, Rick played a huge role in that, and I just really appreciate that.
Great. Thanks. Good luck. Appreciate the answers.
All right, our next question will go to Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thanks a lot. Hey, Joe, a year ago at this time, you're coming off the end of the season where you guys didn't win the last half of the season, didn't have a team in the championship four and cup. Um, what was that period like, and why did you feel, what was it that made you feel like you had to make the big change with Gabe Hart to change the direction of this organization to where now you've had this great successful season and having two cars in the championship four?
Yeah, Dustin, I think for us, it's never just me making big decisions. And so our team, we kind of all got together. We got people that really care about JGR and have spent their most of their working lives here for sure. And so it's a team effort. And so when we talked about it, we laid out some things where we felt like we could really make an improvement. And so that was one of them for sure, getting Chris, move him to be in the competition director. Then that meant Chris Gale moving over and some other changes that we made here with our four cars. And so, this year to wind up kind of where we are with all of that has been, very rewarding, I think, for all of us. But you're constantly in pro sports, what I've learned. I said the same thing in the NFL. I think pro sports, they change at a rate of about 30% a year. And if you're sitting still, you're falling behind. And so you got to be on the forefront of what's taking place. And so we kind of felt like some changes were needed for us. And just appreciate all of our guys and the way they fought this year to get where we are and have the success that we've had.
And Joe, obviously, you're spending a lifetime in sports. You understand how so many people look at these athletes, what they can do as superhuman, and it's easy to forget that they are actually human. You've gone through things in your life. Look, Denny Hamlin's going through things with, he's talked a little bit about his father, the things with his race team. What is it that you see in terms of the human side of Denny Hamlin that maybe most people that sitting in the stands don't see or realize of the things that he's going through and what he's overcoming to try to reach this sport goal as he's dealing with life matters.
Well, you're right, Dustin, in that, we look at these guys, very few people can do this. Get in a car, go 200 miles an hour, compete against somebody. And so when you get one, it's a huge deal for a race team. So for them, though, to be able to achieve that, then there is the whole personal side. It's your relationships, everything. I know I've experienced a lot with JD and Coy not being here. And so you go through those emotions, and sometimes we have a tendency to forget about that and only think about somebody being an athlete. But there's so much to this. And if you think about Denny, where he is right now with Dennis, his dad, and all that the family went through to sacrifice for him. He brings that up all the time. Then everything he's got going at 2311, okay, and then what he's got going with us, you just realize that's a lot. And so I think he's a very unusual person to be able to handle all that. He's also a gifted athlete. So I would say from the time that Denny first came on board, 20 years ago, I think probably where he is today is probably one of the biggest changes that I've seen in a person. And I think a lot of it's because of his family now and Jordan and the kids. Um, you know, there's just there's just a lot there. And so I think our fans appreciate that because they know a lot about the drivers. And certainly our four guys are totally different. They got different things that are taking place in their worlds. And so you make a good point. Sometimes we have a tendency to forget that, but it plays a major role, I think, with great athletes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, our next question will go to Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you, Amanda. Hi, Joe. On the topic of Denny, when you have two drivers in the championship, right? I mean, two opportunities to win a championship, and I'm assuming it'd be like asking to pick your favorite child. But how much of your heart, how sentimentally, to try to do this and see Denny again get an opportunity to win a championship? I mean, sentimentally, how much is your heart with him this weekend?
Well, you kind of take a look at both of our drivers in the Final Four. And, if I take Chase first, here's somebody I noticed, I think yesterday on Sirius Radio, they were talking to him about the couch that he slept on for like 2 years while he's trying to get an opportunity in the sport. And to see him, a first year guy, be able to get everything done that he's got done, be on 7 poles, won 3 races to wind up in the Final Four. So that's a great story when you think about that. All right. Then you move over to Denny. Here's somebody that's won 60 times in our sport. All the things that he does now, he's an owner of a race team. Okay. He races for us. And all he's done over those years, his family, where he is today, when he first came with us, all that's just a huge story. His dad and everything that's taken place there. So it's two definite different stories. And I think for everybody, the only thing that Denny has not claimed is a championship. And so I know everybody asks him about that in every interview. And so if you do that for 20 years, I can tell you there's a burning desire for him to win a championship.
This weekend, getting an opportunity to win a championship, it's been since 2019 since you all have done that. I'm sure you don't need to be reminded of it. Has it felt that long, Joe? Has it felt like it's been a drought or a slump? What have these last few years been like trying to get back atop the mountain, so to speak?
Yeah, it seems like it's been forever. I think that's the thing about pro sports. You work so hard and you get down, and with our championship, it goes to the last race. And it's really, really hard. And the other thing, you go 38 weekends, everybody's put everything that they, all the work effort and everything they put into preparing our cars, all the people here. It's when you stop and think about it, so many people kind of depend on this. And our big deal is you want to try and win. I don't think we have any of our sponsors that I've ever got that said it's okay just to ride around the back. They don't want to do that. They want to win. And so that's obviously the goal up here for everybody. So in this case, you're going to have Rick and his two drivers. You're going to have me and everybody here, Heather and everybody in our ownership and everybody in management, everybody here at the race, our race, our race shop, our entire team pulling for our two cars this weekend. So it's going to be a huge deal. I think our fans love that. It's the best in the world competing, in one race. It should be really exciting.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, Amanda, and thanks for joining us, Coach. Can you discuss the parallels between coaching a championship team in the NFL and coaching championship teams in NASCAR, and have the parallels grown closer over the course of the evolution where you first got here? You had the crew chief and the driver, and now it's kind of blossomed into you have got to have the entire team, and special teams, aka the pit crew, has become more important than ever in this sport.
Ellie, I think the thing, I've kind of said this before, but as far as the two sports, it is kind of amazing how much they are alike. In football, you're not going anywhere in football unless you got a great quarterback. Over here, it's what? The driver. Okay. In football, you gotta have a coach that knows what's going on. Hopefully you have a great coach. Over here, that becomes crew chiefs. Okay. And so the two sports are the fact that our pit crew guys, it's almost exactly like football. They have mandatory weight training twice a week. They have mandatory practice. It's all videoed and filmed. They're paid bonuses on pit stops. I mean, the two sports in that way are a lot alike. Over here, we got a car, and many times that thing will not obey. It doesn't. It doesn't. You can't chew it out or threaten it. Okay. But I do think the two sports are a lot alike. My role is totally different. In football, I can make it happen. I was over there, I grew up in it, technically call plays, make it happen. Over here, I can't. Okay. And so my role over here is totally different. Pick the people, work with the people, try and keep our sponsors happy. And I said, my biggest thrill is trying to pay the bills the first of every month. So my role here is different. I would say there are a lot of similarities between this sport and the NFL. Those are the only two I've been in, but it's kind of amazing, really. And you're trying to win a championship. The one thing that we talked about is different. Over here, you have four teams. That's a real challenge, really difficult. How do you get four teams to work together? I think that NASCAR is really tough from that standpoint.
And you, in your spare time, do a lot of motivational speaking. And when I was in Victory Lane at Martinsville with the Hendrick group, it seemed like they all had a pep rally, talking about loss with the members of Hendrick that they had lost on the plane crash. You know something about severe loss as well. How can you use certain life lessons as catalysts to motivate your squads down the to the finish line?
Yeah, I think Rick and I, have talked a lot about that. Our boys and the fact that they're not here. And so we've had discussions about that, and it's really hard. And so we both have experienced that. Yeah, I'm not sure as far as motivating factors. I do know that with my two boys, and I'm sure with Ricky, their dream was to be a part of racing and the future. And certainly I think that's what Rick kind of had planned. That's what I had planned. And sometimes in life, God has a different idea. And so you, we're in a totally different place, both of us. But I think also we share a lot of similar heartbreaks. So anyway, that's part of our life, and that's where we are now. I got my grandkids involved, got Heather involved. Everything is taking place here. I think my grandkids are a number of them will want to be with the race team and be involved with it. So that's exciting for me. It's not the way I thought it would go, but then again, God's plans many times are not ours.
Thank you for your time, Coach.
All right, our next question will go to Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. Thank you for the time today. You've obviously participated in football playoffs and the Super Bowl, and you've experienced every iteration of a NASCAR championship format. So I'm curious, have you provided NASCAR any feedback from your standpoint about what direction they should go, or what are your feelings overall about this time period we're in right now, thinking about what our future looks like?
Yeah, I think no, I haven't, but I think they've gone about this the right way. They got a committee, Heather's been on there, and a lot of real bright people are thinking about our playoffs and is this the right format for us going forward? The one thing I would say, one race is, man, it is tough because things can happen to you that are out of your control in that one race. And so I think they've done a good job. I leave that to NASCAR. I hear some rumors about it, and I think we'll probably make a change in there if I'm guessing. But I think that'll be something for the future. And what we're focused on right now is the way we do have our championship four. And this is the
And
way NASCAR is, and we're in it, and we got two cars in it. This is a thrill when we get here because it is exciting. You got one race to make it happen. That's the way I look at it. And so we got to find a way. And I'm sure Rick's thinking the same thing.
And then with Taylor winning on Saturday and Ty's car, talking about the future of the company and the way that the family structure is moving forward. Is there something in that dynamic that you've kind of tasked Ty with trying to learn, or from a team management? Like, do you have him doing homework at all in terms of what it's like to run a team in any way?
I think he's so consumed with racing right now. That's been his world ever since he was two. He's been on something with wheels and after it. And so I think when you're trying to climb the ladder and it is so hard to be successful in racing, I think he's totally focused on that, really. And so, no, I think that's been his whole focus is to try and win and climb the ladder and be a part of NASCAR going forward as a driver. And so, yeah, we haven't, other than that, he's totally consumed with that. I can tell you that.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, our next question will go to Toby Christie. Go ahead, Toby.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking time out. You're talking about the parallels to the NFL and NASCAR. As a head coach, a Hall of Fame head coach, you had to mentally prepare your players for that, one game to win a championship. How involved are you with crew chiefs, drivers, and pit crew members, just getting them mentally prepared for the task at hand, which is just a one race to win a championship?
I think over here, Toby, it's mostly the crew chiefs. And they have that close working relationship. They're constantly in the sim. They're going over things with their drivers, and they're trying to climb the mountain, get it done. And so the crew chiefs over here deserve the credit. And I'm obviously in the background. I'm in the competition meetings and stuff, and I share things at different times. But it is over here. I look at the crew chiefs, and it's just the same role that I did play in the NFL. And they're kind of the motivators. They're the guys that make it happen. They're the guys that make the calls. And so that's a very close, tight-knit relationship between drivers and crew chiefs. They really depend on each other. And so this world, those are the guys that make it happen over here. It's not as much, I'm there, certainly around it, care about it, but they're the ones that make it happen.
Awesome. And with the crew chiefs being essentially the head coaches in NASCAR, do you think they get enough credit for what happens on Sundays?
I think our fan base is very knowledgeable. I love Sirius Radio. You hear the fans come on there. Everything on TV on the weekends. We're 38 weekends, which is a huge window on TV and everything that takes place. I think our fan base is very knowledgeable and they understand. And I think they really appreciate crew chiefs. They know what it takes. Our fan base they're after it. And I appreciate that. And there's an excitement there. When you hear them call in on the radio or have discussions with them, I think they definitely understand how important the crew chief's role is. And so I appreciate that about our fans. And I think in pro sports, they get a lot of attention, pro sports do. And certainly NASCAR does. And people know, I think the crew chiefs are, they deserve a lot of credit. And I think they're keys to what happens here with your race teams.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, we're going to squeeze in one final question. I'll go to Claire B. Lane. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for spending the time with us today. I find it interesting because you're such a motivational guy and competitive guy, but really up close, you're so down to earth, right? And I wonder if you could take us through the issues that you had with Chase's car and then Denny's car. Where are you? What do you do? How involved do you get? Then you come back and they digest it, right? But then are you banging on tables? Are you calling? I'd love to hear what it is that you add to all of that and kind of take us through it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to add, Claire, but what we do, we got a great group of technical people here. Our Toyota people, particularly with the motors, which was a huge issue for us. It makes you really nervous and it makes them nervous because they're perfectionists. So this morning, what we did, we got all the parts, we laid them out, we had a full discussion on where we are, what happened. That's the first thing. And certainly in racing, you want to make sure you understand what did happen. That's really important. What did cause, and don't miss that. I think we've got that detailed. And so the decisions then were made by Toyota. This is what we're going to do for this coming weekend. And so we feel like that we've made the right decisions, and we kind of have discussed what did happen, and we're convinced that we made the right decisions about what's going to take place on Sunday. So I think it's made by Toyota and a lot of our technical people. And I'm kind of a bystander, but I kind of know what they're doing.
I gotcha. And a quick follow-up is on crew chief James Small and Chase Briscoe, obviously. I've been interviewing James Small forever, but to see him kind of rise to where he's refreshed with Chase Briscoe after kind of what he went through, what do you see in him to field an effort for the championship finale at Phoenix?
I
He
got to
with
tell you,
Briscoe.
yeah, I think Claire, what he did this year with taking Chase, and for them, every part of Chase's time here, uh, James has been in it. They've been just like this, and so to see them kind of work together. And at first, they got the first pole, and I went, "Oh, that's exciting! We got one pole." And then they just kept up front, fast. And I think that's the thing that you look for in our sport. You want a driver that's fast, and in order to get there, the crew chief has to help him for sure. And so as the year went, I think they set some records, almost 7 poles and all that they did this year. I think James is everybody that knows James, he cares. He is after it. It's a big deal. You can see him worry about stuff. And so I appreciate that. The way he cares about it. And certainly you're seeing somebody like Chase who came up, sacrificed all that he sacrificed with his family and him, Marissa, everything that they've gone through to get to this level. And it's so exciting to see them have a year like they've had. So none of us expected it. I don't think anybody, I didn't hear anybody in the press say that was going to happen. I think it took us all by surprise.
Appreciate your time. Have fun this weekend, okay?
You bet. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And we do wish you the best of luck this weekend in Phoenix.
Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate everybody.